Hey everybody, welcome to What the Flick season finale for Doctor Who season
34.
8, whatever.
34, episode 12.
Fine. Death in Heaven, take a look.
Doctor, what are you looking at?
The clouds. Still there.
Oh, dear Lord!
The Cybermen out there on the fuselage.
In 24 hours, the human race, as you know it, will cease to exist.
Doctor!
It's happening everywhere. All over the world right now.
Doctor Who, the series finale.
What'd you think?
I had a great time. I really did.
Okay,
I know
fine.
Jenna's not here, and I know she had complaints.
Jenna couldn't make it, and she wanted to send along her complaints. Fortunately, they're pretty much the same as my complaints.
Okay,
but let's
have
start
at it.
positive, because again, this is your first season of Doctor Who.
It is.
Welcome to the fold. I'm glad you enjoyed it. What did you like about
Well,
this?
it's funny because you guys get into these plausibility issues, and I'm like, this is fucking Doctor Who. Like, this all seems so.
Yeah.
I mean, yes, okay, fine. There's an internal logic, whatever. But I kind of just went with things that seemed to bug y'all.
Look, there are certain things, like there are details I'll complain about, but like there have been, like, especially season finales of Doctor Who that make no sense whatsoever. There's this one season finale where the Daleks stole Earth and took it into another galaxy. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But I was accepting it because the episode was such a ride.
Sure.
There was so much suspense, and the odds were so heavily against not just the Doctor and his companions, but also like the whole human race.
Right.
And that's what was missing from this episode for me, was the sense that the threat extended beyond the very small cast of characters. We didn't see the humanity reacting to the Cybermen. It was all basically just an idea. It never seemed like there were cool parts, like when the Cybermen were attacking the plane. That was all very, very cool. But overall, I didn't get that
You wanted to
overwhelming
see, like,
sense that
Cybermen over Mumbai, and
well, they
you know,
called it Earth's darkest hour
Right.
within the actual episode. And I'm sorry, Daleks stole the planet once. This is like the 5th or 6th darkest hour the Earth has ever had at this point.
I was kind of hoping that the trees were going to come back,
Right?
and
You'd think.
combat the spores
Well,
of the
that's something else
Cybermen.
that they've done in previous Doctor Who seasons where, and again, I'm not saying this has to be like that, but like where they've taken characters that you've introduced throughout the season or previous seasons and brought them together when there's a massive threat. And here we did have Kate Lethbridge-Stewart, who was a character we'd introduced in previous seasons.
Right.
She's the daughter of a character who was in the 70s.
Right.
Who we got a cameo in this, which I actually thought was rather clever.
Yeah, I had to do some reading up for a lot of the references here. I didn't
Yeah.
know about the fangirl.
Yes. Seriously, her death killed me. That was sad. And also that whole scene didn't make sense to me. And I'm not talking about the internal logic of the series. I'm talking about basic logic.
Sure, no.
Like, so she's in the room with Missy. By the way, great performance
She
from
was
Missy.
fun, yeah.
She's really fun. I love the evil Mary Poppins Time Lord. I really thought that
Yeah.
was great. That was something they needed to play with a while ago. They've captured her. She's doing her Hannibal Lecter thing. She's talking to whatever. I'm gonna kill you in a minute. Okay, one, you're clearly smart. Don't approach her. 2, you have 2 guards behind her, and they say and do nothing the entire time.
That's a weird scene.
That was
in general.
a weird bit. I wonder if, like, I would not be surprised to learn, not that they necessarily did, but I would not be surprised to learn that they realized that, like, oh, we forgot to put guards in the scene. We should just CGI some in the background so that it looks like they weren't stupid.
Right.
But then they don't do anything, and it was just sort of like, say something at least be ineffectual.
But no, you're right. I liked all the forward momentum from, Clara trying to outfox the Cybermen by convincing her that she doesn't exist, to the Doctor learning that he is the president of Earth because of alien attack.
Yeah, that was fun. That was a fun idea. I wish they'd done more with that.
Yeah, and I liked that they brought back Danny Pink in a way that sort of meant something and allowed him to make this sacrifice and then another sacrifice.
Yeah.
And I like that whole sort of closing thing where they're each lying about their happy ending that they didn't get.
Yeah.
There was the IndieWire recap made an interesting point, which was that by having the Doctor sort of dismiss these military figures who pop over the season out of hand, that in both cases with this episode with Colonel Ahmed and then previously with Danny Pink, he's also dismissing the one person of color in the room.
Oh dear,
and
you're right.
that's maybe something to think about. For future episodes, they might watch that.
That's kind of wonky. Yeah, that's not great. You brought up a lot of points that I think are worth talking about. I will say this, as a farewell to a companion, this is actually one of the better ones. They didn't come up with some arbitrary reason why they can't see each other again, which they've done before. It's basically, I actually liked this kind of sweet, almost bittersweet, tragic ending to them, like almost like the end of like an old movie.
Sure.
You know, where it's like, we can never be
Brief
together.
encounter.
Yeah, exactly. So like, I thought that was actually really, really well handled. I'm trying to remember the other points you brought up.
Outfoxing the Cybermen?
Outfoxing the Cybermen, here's what I liked about that. There's been a recurring plot, particularly this season, of Clara's lying. And I liked how they turned that into a strength, and they also turned that into a weakness. That moment where Danny Pink, the Cyberman, you know, it's like, because I'm an excellent liar. Correct. Like, he's so sad about that. It's so hard not to feel for him. But the other thing is,
Now, do we know that this is her farewell, or is
I think
is Santa Claus going to bring them back together?
Okay, I will say I'm super stoked about Santa Claus.
Oh God, Nick Frost as Santa Claus.
as Santa Claus is a great
I want
tease.
to see it right now.
How have they not? It's interesting. They've done so many Christmas specials and they've never actually done Santa Claus, and I love that. And I'm hoping we find out that Santa Claus is a Time Lord, because that makes perfect sense.
That would explain the whole December 24th conundrum.
And it would also give them like a good in to move into the next season where he's finding Gallifrey, the home of the Time Lords, which we're missing a long time
Right,
ago.
now, okay, I was a little confused as to what actually happened. So he gets there and it's, what, devastated or something?
It's
and then
gone.
he starts hitting things?
No, it was a lie.
Okay.
He was lying about Missy. Missy told him the coordinates.
Right.
And he told Clara that he had found it so that she wouldn't feel bad for abandoning him.
I caught that, but I didn't know what he actually found.
I think he found nothing. I think the implication is that he found nothing and it's just missing.
I thought maybe he'd gotten there and it was like everybody was dead or something.
Right. No.
Okay.
So that was good. That was a good tease. But ultimately, at the end of the episode, kind of nothing happened, and it was frustrating for me because, you know, a lot of it was about, do we turn off Danny Pink's emotions? What is love? That whole bit was kind of sweet. But the doctor doesn't really have to make a decision. Danny gets to do all the work. Clara doesn't really get to do much except say goodbye to Danny. And yeah, I liked the twist. I will say I liked the twist. I'm giving you the army happy birthday. I thought that was fun, and they toyed with that for a minute, but ultimately it just didn't amount to very much, and then it ended up with like a series of more Deus Ex Machinas than usual.
I think the show was cognizant of the fact that they were letting the Doctor and Clara off the hook, but they gave Danny that great speech about how this is how wars work. The people up at the top keep their hands clean and they don't have to do anything, and it's the grunts, and so it's really kind of true to his character as the soldier and as the good soldier, and what the effects of that can be, and what the backlash of that can be when you are forced into a situation where you're doing something like when he has to kill the kid, which is he then later gets to make up for that. I'm not necessarily excusing that, but I think at least they were aware to a certain extent that was happening.
I mean, but even just like the whole environment of that thing just made it like they're surrounded by Cybermen. Are they also broken like Danny? The implication is that Danny's the only one who has his brain. Why aren't the other Cybermen attacking them? They're just wandering around waiting to be an army at the end.
They were, as he said, they were newborns.
But all the other newborns were walking around.
Right, but they were walking around, but they weren't ready. They weren't in a position to like stop Danny yet because they were still getting their bearings. I guess. I don't know.
I'm going to let that slide. I will say this: my theory about how the Master will come back is if you pay attention, every time the Master uses that device to disintegrate someone, the energy is red. Every time she uses it to teleport, the energy is blue. And when she's evaporated at the end, the energy was blue. So that's my theory on how they're just going to bring her back pretty easily. Now, I know a lot of people, and I realize this might not be an issue for you, a lot of people were actually, that I've talked to, were actually sort of offended by the way they brought back Brigadier Lethbridge Stewart. I feel like I'm messing up his name, and I apologize, Internet, if I am. But like, there's an old classic character from the series who the actor died, and they wanted to bring him back in a cameo eventually, but like he died, so they brought back his daughter, and now he's back as a Cyberman. And some people thought that was there's something kind of perverse about that. But it raises the question: why wasn't every Doctor Who friend and companion back as Cybermen who died?
Well, they weren't all buried in that graveyard. Like you said, we didn't get to see what was going on in the rest of the world. So, you know, this guy happened to be there and he was able to rescue her from the plane.
Well, that's fine.
That's fine. I have no history with this character, so it didn't bother me in the slightest.
Right, no, that's not the era of Doctor Who I'm most familiar with anyway, so I didn't have that reaction, but I know people who did. And I think it's fair. I will say I did like just one tiny moment that I just really, really loved. I really do like a hug is just a way to hide your face.
That was pretty great.
Isn't that sweet? That's great,
especially
Doctor Who.
on television.
Yeah.
Because every time people hug, there's always that cutaway to the, the horrified face or the I'm hiding something from you face. So,
Well, let's unpack. Like, tell us about your first season of Doctor Who. What was that journey like for you?
Yeah, well, this is a fun show. I mean, it's I think I've said before, it kind of struck me at times as like kind of a kid show, or at least kind of a kid-friendly show.
That's how it started.
Yeah, but it's funny, and again, as people keep telling me, Capaldi will forever be my doctor because he was my first one.
That's how it works.
I liked him before. I like him now. I liked the way he portrayed this ever-evolving character. I liked his chemistry with Jenna Coleman. I hope that if she is indeed departing, that his next companion is as they mesh together as well. Yeah. But I didn't dread looking forward to the show, watching the show every week. It got to where it's like, oh yeah, great, I watch Doctor Who, and so I'm in. I don't know that I'm in so much that I'm going to start working backwards as much as people have mentioned in the comments, or friends of mine, or you have been like, oh, you need to see that.
Audience, I'm trying to get him to watch at least a few of the classic episodes.
But I'm working on it. Moving forward, I'm for sure in. Right. I thought actually this episode, given that it dealt so much with resurrecting the dead, coming off of Miracle Day, I thought, oh, perfect time to bring in Captain Jack.
Yeah, I don't know if I don't know where Jack is at this point in the story, but it's also availability. He's like a regular on Arrow
I know. But I just
but there's always that opportunity though, and it was nice even just to see Unit come back in this, and I love those characters, and that's why I was really bummed when the audience surrogate character got killed. One, because she's adorbs, and I really liked her, and they even went, and as soon as the Doctor said all of time and space, something for your bucket list, implying that she might be the next companion, I was like, oh, she's dead in 10 minutes, isn't she? They're totally gonna, you bastard. Like, why would you do that? And then I got super excited about the possibility, I thought this would have been a great direction for the show, of the Doctor and Missy being companions. Like, how cool would that be? Like, to have someone he's actually against and someone that don't like each other, but they're forced to be together because they're the only two. I toyed with that before, like when the Master is attacked and the Doctor has offered to become the caretaker of the Master and try to rehabilitate him at the time. It wasn't a her.
That seems like it'd be complicated, but I'm sure.
It could be complicated, but it would at least be an interesting and new dynamic. Yeah. That's kind of what I'm hoping for, because I feel like Jenna Coleman's dynamic with Matt Smith worked a certain way, and I felt like her dynamic with Peter Capaldi worked a certain way, and I feel like it's time to find a new match for him, someone who challenges him in a way that isn't just who can be more controlling.
Sure.
I think there's another character dynamic that they can find in the future.
I say bring back Courtney.
Yeah, Courtney would be fun. Bring back adult Courtney as the president.
There you go. Or at least as a senator or something.
Awesome.
So this was fun, and I hope you guys enjoyed it too. We will be back to talk about the Christmas special, and I hope
around Christmas time.
Yes, whenever that airs, and we hope that Jenna will be with us then. But thanks for joining us this season.